Happy Monday! Happy January 2nd, 2023. We are officially in 2023. I still have no idea where 2022 went, but I am super excited for this new year. I always say new year, better you. You know, I don't like saying new year, new you because there are so many good things about you that you don't have to change your entire persona, but I'm sure you want to do some things better in 2023. And that's what I want to talk about today is how to choose your word for 2023. I'm sure you've seen on social media or in some other personal development programs or posts wherever about choosing your word for 2023. And what I find is that so many people don't do this the right way, or they don't really think about the word and its meaning. And some people might even think, oh my gosh, like picking a word for 2023 or just picking a word for the year, that's so silly, and there's so many words you can pick from. How do I just choose one word? Comment below if you resonate with any of that, if you think some of those same things. Comment below actually too if you're watching me live, if you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. I really do believe that choosing this word is more than just a word, obviously. Okay, what you are doing with this practice is you are setting an intention. That is the value in choosing a word for 2023. So again, it's not just choosing a word, right? But I do want to help you today pick the right word if you'd like to pick one for this year. But it truly is about setting an intention. And this activity always reminds me of my freshman year of college. I was at Penn State University in State College, Pennsylvania. Comment below if you're a Penn State grad. I know our dietitian Danielle in CNW is also a Penn State grad. And my freshman year at Penn State, I took English 15, which was the English class that every single freshman took at Penn State. And I had a professor, Professor Allen. I remember him very specifically because of this assignment, actually. And I had, tons of professors at Penn State in my 4 years, but this assignment freshman year really resonated with me, and it actually inspires me to continue to have a word for every year. So this first assignment, my freshman year, he asked us to write a 2-page essay on our favorite word. And I was so baffled and annoyed by this assignment. I remember my 18-year-old self thinking, one word, like my favorite word, I don't know, like I can think of 20 different words. How am I gonna pick one? And so I had to do this assignment, obviously, and I was one of those, like, I'm going to do exactly what the teacher says. I want to get the best grade ever. I was very competitive with myself, and English was my favorite subject. So I really thought long and hard about this assignment, and I ended up choosing the word quintessential. Some of you might have heard this story, especially if you're a friend of mine. I've told this story 100 times. But I chose the word quintessential just because I like how it sounds. I thought that was cool. And number two, I like how it's different. It begins with a Q, and most words don't. But number three, what it represents. And the word quintessential means the best example of something. Okay, so for example, the quintessential first date might be going out to dinner, going on a walk after, I don't know, or the quintessential honeymoon would be going to a Caribbean island. Who knows? So the best example, the prime example of something. So I chose that word because I wanted to be the quintessential Penn State student. And in this essay, I talked about not only did I want to get good grades, I wanted to go to all the football games and even go to some other sporting events. But I also really wanted to give back to the university. I wanted to serve the community. I wanted to get involved in sports. I maybe wanted to do Greek life, which I actually never ended up doing. My sister did. I didn't. But I just really wanted to be a well-rounded student. I wanted to work. I wanted to have a good friend group. I wanted to, just really be immersed in the Penn State culture. And those of you who know me, I'm very big on community. And so I wrote this whole essay of all of my intentions for my 4 years at Penn State. I wanted to be the quintessential student. And it's really interesting because after I graduated from college and I looked back on my 4 years, I realized that I did exactly what I said I was going to do. Okay, in those 4 years. I actually tutored, I worked for a note-taking service, I lifeguarded, so I worked in different areas. I also served my community. I was actually a tour guide for Penn State. I was a line ambassador, so I not only gave tours to potential students, but also to alumni who came back to the university. I worked for the president of the university and did lots of events for him and the Alumni Association. I had great friends, I was involved in sports as well. So I was a very well-rounded student. And so setting that intention in, oh God, what year was this? 2003, really set me up for success for the next 4 years of my college experience. And yeah, my 4 years at Penn State was truly amazing. And now I have a younger sister who's actually a freshman at Penn State. So I'm super excited for her and her journey. And so ever since then, I have found that choosing a word is definitely helpful. So, I also want to share a little bit here of what I've seen in my community recently of words that people have been choosing. And I want to give some feedback on these words, some praise and some, constructive criticism as well for choosing a word that can truly motivate you and help you set those strong intentions. Because if you're going to do this activity, you want it to work for you, right? And you want it to have meaning. So just picking a word is not always the best idea, right? So a couple of words that I've seen a lot in terms of on social media or even in my own community, one word I've seen a lot is consistency, okay? My word for 2023 is consistency. I want to be more consistent in my eating, in my workouts, in my whatever it is, getting up early, right? And I get that. Like, we all want to be more consistent. I even want to be more consistent. But here's what I want to talk to you guys about choosing a word like that. Like, let's take consistency, for example, okay? Consistency is an outcome, okay? It is an action. It is something you are striving for, okay? So the problem with that is when we are striving for an outcome, we are outcome focused. And we're not so much looking at the journey or the process to achieve that outcome. And I'm bringing this up today because several of you in this community, and even some of you who've heard this book, Atomic Habits, a lot of people are reading this book. They love it. It's been around for a while, just so you guys know. But one of the biggest things that James Clear talks about in this book, Atomic Habits, is not to be outcome focused, right? He says this over and over again in the book. And this is exactly how we teach habit creation in CMW. You want to be process focused. So it's very easy for you to say, my word is consistency. I'm going to be consistent. But then we're still getting tripped up in that process. How do we actually enjoy this process so we can be consistent? So what I'm encouraging you guys to do, I'm going to teach you how to do this today, is to choose a word that will make you want to be consistent. Okay. So consistency, that's the noun form, obviously. Consistent is the adjective form. Again, that's more outcome. So I'd rather us focus on a different kind of word. Here's another word I heard in my community that I think is actually really good. Okay, one of our clients, Anita, we talked about this on my Friday workout. Actually, I shared my word from last year. We all shared our new word for this year, and she said her word for this year is curious. And I loved that because what she means by curious is, when we're going through something in our life, or let's say we have a struggle, or let's say we have some kind of challenge, or we're really unclear of our direction, whether it's in our work or in our relationships or on our health and weight loss journey, instead of being like frustrated and stuck and, oh my God, I don't know what to do, getting frustrated and giving up, we get curious. Okay. And what's really important to think about here is our emotion behind that word curious versus that word frustrated. Okay, if I'm frustrated, it creates stress. Okay, and if we're thinking about curious, I'm curious as to if I should continue to date this person. I'm curious, where I should take my business in 2023. I'm curious if I should consider buying a house this year. I'm curious as to what would work best for me on my health and weight loss journey. So if we're curious, okay, we're feeling more like excited about figuring it out, right? We're curious as to what the right thing to do is. Let me explore my options, right? And how does that make you feel? Okay. And that makes you feel more maybe excited, maybe more inquisitive, which is an adjective for curious. And then you go seek opportunities. You start to learn and brainstorm and research versus, feeling frustrated, right? And getting stuck and just spiraling. So I really like that word, Danita. That was a good one. So I talked about how my word last year was resilience. And the reason why I chose that word last year, and in CMW, I'm a pretty transparent person. I feel like if we're going to be truly coachable, we have to be, transparent. And so I talked about how 2022 was a tough year for me. It was my first year as a single woman. I got divorced last year. I had a lot of changes going on in my life, and I chose the word resilience because I really wanted to prove to myself that I could get through anything, no matter what. The ups, the downs, I could work through anything. And so resilience is the noun form, the adjective is resilient. I wanted to feel resilience, that I can get through anything. And so this is my biggest tip. And I'm going to walk you through some examples today. But my biggest tip for you when choosing a word this year, write this down, is for you to choose an adjective. Number one, it's a descriptive word. But number two, it's a feeling. It's an emotion. It's not an outcome. It's an emotion. Okay. So if I feel resilient, right? I feel like I can get through anything. No matter how strong the storm is, I can weather the storm. And there's something very empowering about that. Okay. So that's something. And there's a reason why choosing an emotion is so much more motivating, because we are emotionally driven people. We're human, right? Humans are emotionally driven beings. Okay. And that's, a lot of people say, well, I lose motivation really easily. And oftentimes it's because we're focusing on outside circumstances. We're focusing on other things in our life we can't control. But what I encourage you to focus on this year, number one, are things you can control. But number two, not so much like what people do to you or what work does to you or the economy does to you, but focusing on your own emotions and managing those emotions. And so last year, I wanted to feel resilient. And I truly, looking back on this year, I truly feel like I learned to be a resilient person. And I think deep down I always had that, but I think this year was my main focus. I set that intention, okay? So, and again, like you might be thinking, well, that word doesn't apply to me. That you don't have to choose that word. I'm just giving an example. And like I said, I feel like I was also resilient in some ways, but I really wanted to get better at it. And I wanted that to be an emotion I felt on a daily basis, okay? So this year, do you guys want to hear my word for this year? I'll share it with you guys. Okay. Well, my word for this year is confident. Okay. And some of you might be thinking, wow, like that's an interesting word. You seem like a confident person. And yes, I am a confident person. I don't really struggle with confidence at all. But at the end of the day, that's an emotion that's very important to me. And it is very motivating for me too. So I always think to myself, like, what can I do to keep feeling confident in myself? Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to share with you guys how to pick your word. Okay. And then what you could do is, if you'd like, at the end of this talk, you can share what your word is. Because I love sharing, and that's the value of community. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about why I picked confidence and how it applies to all areas of my life. Okay, so take some notes. Okay, I would definitely do this. You guys know me in CMW, I'm a note taker, because I do think this is going to be of tremendous value to you guys. Okay, so number one, write this down. I want you to pick a word, okay, that is an emotion that you want to feel on a daily basis. Okay, pick a word that's an emotion that you can feel on a daily basis. Number two, write down why you want to feel that on a daily basis. Why is it important to feel that way? How will it impact your life in like all areas of your life? Okay. So let me recap. Number one, you pick one adjective you want to feel. And it, like I said, it could be something you already feel, but maybe it's really important to continue that. Number two, write down why it's important for you to feel this way on a daily basis in multiple areas of your life. Okay. And guys, remember this too. We are driven and motivated to feel something. This is why I'm saying you want to pick an adjective that's emotion based. Okay. For example, like let's say you're motivated by money, right? A lot of people say that. I'm motivated by money. So my word for 2023 should be money. Well, first of all, no. Money is not an adjective. It's not an emotion. It's an outcome, right? So no. But maybe you want to feel wealthy. Now, what's the value in feeling wealthy? Well, it makes me feel fulfilled. I can buy the things I want. I can provide for my family. I can feel secure. Those feelings we are super motivated by, right? How excited do you get when you can go buy that purse you want, right? Or I finally saved up enough money I can go buy this house I want to. Or you know what, I'm saving up money to work with this coach and now I can do it. How excited do you feel? Is the emotion behind that. It's the freedom, right? So I'd rather you choose the word wealthy instead of money. Does that make sense? And remember, guys, wealth is not just about money. I've said this before. Life is not about how many resources you have, but how resourceful you are with those resources. So you can absolutely feel wealthy without having a ton of wealth. Wealth can be in your friend group. It can be in your church. It can be in your job. It can be in your family. It can be in your brain. I've got a wealth of knowledge in my brain. You see, there's lots of power in words, you guys. So this truly is an awesome activity. All right, so I told you to pick the first two steps, right? So pick an adjective you want to feel every day. Write down why it's important to you. Number 3, I want you to write down the following statements. We're going to fill in the blanks, okay? So the first statement, I feel blank when I blank. Write that down. I feel blank, draw a line, when I blank. So let's talk about the statement first. So I feel, insert emotion that you're going to choose, when I insert action. Right? An action could be your outcome. So for example, I'll use mine here. I feel confident when I am consistent with my habits. Okay? Because here's the thing. We all want to be consistent with our habits. That's why we're here. You really want to build a healthy lifestyle. You want to be consistent with your healthy habits. But we tend to lose sight of our why behind those habits. And for me personally, I feel more confident in myself when I stick to my habits. It's not so much the action of sticking to them. It's like I feel better about myself as a human being. I feel like I can put more energy and more attention into others and into the universe and into my clients, into my family, into my friends, my relationships, everything. I'm just better at everything in my life. And I feel really confident in that statement when I'm consistent with my habits. So do you guys see how excited I get when I talk about feeling confident versus sticking to my habits? That's just like law. And that's why, guys, if you just pick this word consistent for the year, we're not always excited about it. But confidence is exciting. I can't tell you guys how many times I do like consultation calls or people have come to me in CMW and said, I just want to feel confident in my body. I want to feel confident in my knowledge of nutrition. I want to feel confident that I'm doing the workouts I should be doing. You know, I want to feel confident in my ability to reach these goals. Well, if you want to feel confident, you know, what do you need to do? I'll talk about that next. It's actually the next statement. That's the next statement. Okay. So write this down, guys. Next statement. In order to blank, right? In order to feel blank, I need to blank. And pick one thing as the action. So in order to feel confident, I need to blank. What is that? Now, and again, guys, I don't want this to just be about the health and weight loss journey. I always say how you do one thing is how you do everything. All right, so I'm gonna give like a non-weight loss example here, and then I'll do one for weight loss. Why not? So, in order to feel confident, here's mine. In order to feel confident, I need to remember my what is it? Oh gosh, I'm applying this to dating. I need to remember my must-haves in a guy. My non-negotiables. Let's write that. Okay, so in order to feel confident, I need to remember my non-negotiables. And those of you that know me know that I'm just really starting, I would say, my dating journey. And that's a whole nother topic. It's been super fun. But sometimes I feel like when I sacrifice those non-negotiables or I lose sight of those non-negotiables, I don't feel as confident in myself. And I feel much better about myself when I am dead set on those non-negotiables. Now, I'm not talking about materialistic traits a guy has to have, but they have to be good communicators. They have to be consistent. They have to, be willing to maybe travel. That's important to me. So those things, those are non-negotiables for me. And sometimes I find that if I'm starting to get to know a guy and I'm more attracted to him, for whatever reason, I let go of those non-negotiables. And then I find myself in this little pickle of I'm not feeling as good about myself because I'm giving up on those things. No more. Okay. So in order to feel confident, I have to stick to my non-negotiables. So let's do one for weight loss, and let's do one actually using Danita's word curious. Danita, I know you're probably watching this. I hope you don't mind me using your word. So her word was curious. In order to feel curious, I need to, in order to feel curious, I need to decide what, weight loss strategy is best for me. Right? In order to feel curious, I need to decide what weight loss strategy is best for me. So there's so much power in choice, you guys, right? And that always comes with being curious. You get to choose and make those decisions. So instead of feeling oh, I have to do this because my friend did this, or oh, I did this 2 years ago, I'm going to try this now again, or, oh, this person told me to do this. I keep getting Facebook ads or Instagram ads, whatever, for this app. I should try it. It's being forced upon me. I don't know what else to do. No, get curious. And in this particular case, I really encourage you to get curious with yourself as a human. So you want to feel curious, but you also want to feel secure, right? That's a great word for 2023 too, is secure, totally. So I use the word confident. I could also choose the word secure. They're very similar. But, if you're curious, you're saying what would serve me best? Right? So instead of being stuck doing something or trying to figure out what would I really need to be successful once and for all, and get really curious about that. So if I've strict dieted and I've, put myself through rigorous workouts, I've, applied, or I've signed up for Orange Theory, I've done these apps before, but those don't work for me anymore. Okay. Get curious of what the next best thing is, or the next thing is, not the best thing. Because going back to those strategies is not going to help you long term. Maybe in the short term, but never the long term. I talked about this with choosing the right plan for you in my talk last week. So get curious. What do I really need? Am I an emotional eater? Do I just suck at sticking to a schedule? Do I talk myself out of things? Am I not consistent with my sleep schedule? Do I get stressed out really easily? Because oftentimes, guys, it's this. We're not confident. We're not secure. And guess what? We're not curious. We're avoiding. We're avoidant. Comment below if you feel like you're avoidant when it comes to the health and weight loss journey. You probably know what's holding you back, but you don't want to deal with it. You self-sabotage. You're negative with yourself. You have this all or nothing mindset. You're an emotional eater. You boredom eat. You go for the sweets even though you shouldn't. You don't have the discipline, but you avoid dealing with that and just jumping into the next best diet. If that's you, I would definitely choose an adjective this year that is the complete opposite of avoidant. So maybe like confident, secure. Maybe you want to feel knowledgeable. Maybe you want to feel empowered. Maybe you want to feel loved. Now that's another one. Love is a great one. I feel loved because like love as in loving yourself. The best and most important relationship is with yourself. And what I oftentimes find is that when people don't have a strong relationship with themselves, they don't have a good relationship with food. And if you want to be really successful in the health and weight loss journey this year, once and for all, I am going to really encourage you to work on your relationship with food, because that changed me as a human being when I finally worked on that. And this is what we do in CMW. Because that will make you feel confident. It'll make you feel secure, empowered, motivated, successful. Right? And that's why I also like choosing the word successful versus success. Success is a noun. A noun is a person, place, or thing. It is a tangible item. Okay? But successful, right, is an adjective. It's a feeling. And as humans, we find so much more value in feelings. I know we're not going to admit that, but we do. Because when you can buy the house, you can buy the car, you can buy the purse, the clothes, the dog, for some people, whatever it is, there's a feeling behind that. It's not just the status symbol, right? And it's like, okay, like I really want a relationship this year, right? Like that's actually a goal for me. I definitely am looking for my next life partner for sure. I'm 37 years old. I have no kids. I have my dog Mastros, who's my life, but no offense, Mastro, I'm ready for another person in my life. And you know, yes, a relationship is it's a verb. God, I can't talk today. It's a noun. But the emotion behind that, right, is love. I want to feel loved, of course. And I have so much love in my life. I do. But yeah, that's something I'm definitely looking for. And I'm confident that I will find that. You know, I will create that in my life. I'm not worried about it. And that's why I chose the word confident for 2023, because every day I will do something to feel confident in myself. And in the book Atomic Habits, and I'm talking about this book because I see it coming up over and over again this time of year. Every January I hear people talking about it. You know, he talks about the 1%, right? Like those little tiny atomic, small habits we do every day. So every day I'm going to do one little thing to make me feel more confident in myself. Even if that one thing is journaling in the morning for 2 minutes about it. Okay. Every morning I do my 5-minute journal. I write down one of my daily affirmations. I'm a get it done queen. I'm a get it done queen. My coach Franchelle taught me that. And I write that down because I oftentimes don't feel confident in my ability to get things done. I have these long to-do lists and I get through about half of it. Okay, and then I procrastinate and then I shut down because I feel like I can't do all the things and I stress. But when I write down, I'm a get it done queen, that alone gives me more confidence to get those things done and to be consistent. Okay? So again, I'm not making my work consistent this year because that will happen when I feel more confident in myself. I hope this is making sense. This is making sense to you guys? I hope. Okay. I know this is talking a lot. This is taking longer than I thought, but I just wanted to, share why choosing a word for the new year can be very helpful. And again, it's not something you have to do, but I definitely recommend if it's not choosing a word, I would highly recommend setting an intention. You can write creating an intention for the new year. Okay, you don't have to call it a goal. I like the word intention. There's something a little bit softer about that. Not that it's not as important, but again, it's something that you feel will really, improve you as a person this year. Okay. I'd love to hear what your word is. So go ahead and comment below with what that word is. And again, let's say you are curious. Let's say you want to be more confident in yourself, in your health, in your fitness, in, your body. if you're looking for confidence in that and security and clarity, you want to feel all those things, CMW is here to help you. We really want you to be clear on nutrition. We want to make sure you're doing workouts that you feel good about, that are getting results. We want to help you stop avoiding the self-sabotage issue, the emotional eating, the stress eating, the all or nothing mindset. We want to help you break free of that. Okay, so if you're looking for help with that this year, that's what CMW is all about. If you know all these other weight loss strategies out there don't work for you, you've done them, and or you really just want to figure out what works for you, that's what CMW is for. Create My Weight. All right, so I'll drop my link here below, createmyweight.com/apply, and you can schedule a complimentary consultation call with us where we'll get to learn more about you. We're going to help you get curious. We're going to help you realize what you really need to be successful. And like I always say, guys, if CMW is not a good fit, I'll be very honest with you. If we do think it is, we'll tell you what we're going to do with you and how you're going to be successful in CMW. All right, so I'll drop that link below. But more importantly, I want to hear what your word is for 2023. If you have more questions about it, drop them below. Have an awesome rest of your week. Happy New Year. And I'll see you guys in the group here soon. All right, have a good day, guys. Bye.